And welcome. Welcome to our lesson on the advancer. Now, a lot of you probably thinking, well, who's the advancer? Well, the advancer is actually the partner of the overcaller. It's not a commonly referred to position at the table because we're so used to hearing about opener, overcaller, and responder. We often forget about the name of the partner of the overcaller, and it's actually the advancer. Now, responding to an overcall, that is advancing to an overcall, is different to advancing to an opening bid. And the reasoning behind that is actually quite obvious if you consider the difference between opening the bidding with, for example, one spade and overcalling with one spade after an opponent has opened the bidding. So if we open one spade, partner can very much refer or rely on us to hold at least, 11 plus or 12 plus high card points. But when it comes to overcalling at the one level, your point range, and the point range I like to suggest, is somewhere between about 7 up to about 17. It's quite a wide-ranging point range, which makes things a bit more difficult for partner or the advancer when partner has actually overcalled. Now, first of all, let's discuss the idea behind overcalling on as little as 7 high card points. I will often bring this through in my lessons. I'm a big believer in overcalling at the one level, simply if you want to direct the lead for partner in defense. So you can have as little as 7 high card points, but you would only do so if those 7 high card points were in the suit that you are overcalling in. So if your hand was as little as 7 high card points, perhaps ace, queen, jack to 7 might be good, ace, king to 7. You can tweak that just a little bit. You might have 8 points and ace, queen to 5 cards. I didn't mean ace, king to 7. I mean ace, king to 5 or ace, queen, jack to 5. So at least a 5 card suit, but most of your points in that suit if you intend to overcall with as little as 7 high card points. Now, if you're the advancer and partner has overcalled at the one level, how do you know that they don't have 12 points in the 5 card suit as opposed to 7 points in the 5 card suit? It's very difficult for partners to be able to work that out. So what today's lesson is about giving us a framework so that the advancer, and that is the partner of the overcaller, can apply some rules that are slightly different to the responder has opposite an opening bid. So first thing to discuss, the difference between here with an overcall, everyone, the difference between overcalling at the one level as opposed to overcalling at the 2 level as well. Overcalls at the 2 level should always have an opening hand. As this lesson goes on, some questions will be asked about, is a change of suit by the advancer after an overcall forcing or non-forcing? And that's where the important part of this lesson applies, and that is that the overcall at the one level by a player simply says, partner, I've got at least 7 to 17 points. But we tend to split that into 2 categories. One where you've got less than an opening bid, and one where you've got more than an opening bid. So if partner does change suit opposite your one level overcall, you would bid again if you have an opening hand, but you would simply pass partner's change of suit if the hand was less than an opening bid. Now, a few things to think about. What about when partner wants to bid no trumps opposite your overcall? Well, the typical amount for a 1 no trump response opposite an opening bid is about 6 to 9 points. Opposite an overcall, we should increase the level of that point range, not 6 to 9, but bring it up to, and I'll just point that out here, everyone, for us, with our little pointer. Here we go. We should pass on most hands up to about 7 points opposite an overcall, with the exception of when you actually have a trump fit for partner's overcall. So if you've got a trump fit for partner's overcall, do the normal thing with 6 points and raise that. But if you don't have a trump fit, then you should pass on nearly all hands up to about 7 high card points. You can respond one no trump with about 8 to 12 or 8 to 11 about that. I've actually haven't managed to put the page notes on these lessons, everyone. I'm sorry about that, but what I'm doing later on today is actually I'm sending out a copy of all of the lessons in simply an email on a PDF file, so people can catch up and print out notes, and I'll make sure that all of those lesson notes have page numbers on every one of them so far. Okay, back to a one no trump response by the advancer. Now that's about 8 to 12 or 8 to 11, I think, around about that point range. And it says to the partner, I know your one level overcall may have been made on lighter than an opening hand. Therefore, I'm going to give you some leeway. I'm going to respond one no trump on up 8 from as little as 8 up to around about 11 or at worst 12 points. That 12 is sort of a bit of a gray area there, everyone. And that means if you want to invite to game, you need around 13 or 14 or a good 12 to 14 points. With 15 plus, then you can afford to go to 3 no trump opposite a one level overcall. Now, if partner turns out to have 7 or 8 points, so be it. Yeah, this isn't an exact science. So, and the reason it's not an exact science is because you want to encourage partner to overcall at the one level on hands with a good suit, because that will help you. It'll help make it difficult for the opponents to handle an option. And it will always also mean that if your side ends up declaring, the partner will be able to lead the best suit or make a lead directional play in the suit that you are bidding. So that's why you'll find that the exact high card points sometimes won't fill in, but this is a decent enough compromise on responding opposite a one of a major overcall in comparison to a one of a major opening bid. Stephen's asked a question. What if a one heart has been bid? So an example, I'm sorry, I don't quite understand the question, Stephen. Can you give me an option? So what was the opening bid from the opener and what has partner overcalled? If you could define that, we'll get back to your question. So a change of suit. Now this could be as little as maybe 8 or 9 points, but if you had as little as 8 or 9 points, well, certainly at the one level, but at the two level, you'd need to have a decent amount of points. And it also brings me to the area here about when we discussed category 1 and category 2, that is when partner has a hand that is lead directional versus partner overcalling with an opening bid. So let me just simply show you something here, and we'll look at some examples of when a bid, when you would bid twice as the overcaller and when you would pass as the overcaller. So here's our table. South opens the bidding with 1 diamond. West overcalls 1 heart. North says no bid. And East changes suit to 2 clubs. Now, the theory that I'm promoting here, everyone, is that that change of suit is only forcing if the 1 heart overcaller held sufficient points to open the bidding. So if the auction continued no bid from South, no bid from West, we would know that West's point range is something like 7 up to 11 points. We can compare that, everyone, with this auction. 1 diamond, 1 heart, no bid, 2 clubs, no bid, 2 hearts. Now, because the overcaller at the 1 level has bid twice, they're promising partner an opening bid. So with this hand here, the overcaller will have at least 11 plus points and almost certainly a 6-card heart suit because they have repeated the suit. So what does the overcaller, what choice do they make on their second bid if their hand is an opening hand? Well, they would bid as if they had opened the bidding. If their choice here was not two hearts, then if their choice was two no trump instead, then that would show typically 12 to 14 points and probably a balanced or at least a semi-balanced hand, opposite partners two club or non-forcing two club. When I say non-forcing, it's actually forcing if the overcaller has an opening hand. And that way, we will find out instantly whether our side has a genuine chance for game or not. Okay, let's rub that up. Let's look at Stephen's question here. Stephen's, no, he hasn't asked it again, but Helen's asked a question. What if you don't have a stopper in the opening bid? Very good question. So I think that, and let's fill in what I believe Helen's referring to here. On one heart, no bid from north, two clubs change of suit, no bid from south on their second call, and west bids two no trump. Okay, what if west here actually had the 12 to 14 points that they promised, but didn't hold a stopper in the opponent's suit? C'est la vie. They have to bid something, everyone. So this bid here probably doesn't promise a stopper in the diamond suit. Harlan's got a question here. What happens if the contract is left in two clubs? Again, a great question. These are all good questions and all relevant to playing a method such as this. Now, what if the auction is left in two clubs? What if the bidding does go one diamond, one heart, no bid, two clubs? If south passes and west passes, they're denying an opening bid here by passing the two club call. Now, that means that the two club bid, A, better not be too good. It better not be a hand with, let's say, 16 plus points, A, and B, it better have playable clubs. So you wouldn't do this on a very weak 5-card suit. Now remember, the advancer has already denied a fit with partners major because they didn't raise it. So therefore they have either 1, 2, or 3 suitor in the other 3 suits. So their choices could be to bid no trumps. Their choices could be to change the suit. So if they do change the suit here with the 2 club bid, they have to be prepared for the overcaller to pass without an opening bid. If that's the case, then that 2 club bid or the club suit needs to be of decent enough quality to handle partner passing the change of suit. So just bear that in mind. You wouldn't bid 2 clubs here on king to 5 because partner may turn around and pass with a singleton. If you've only got king to 5 clubs and no fit in partner's hearts, it's highly likely that you have enough cards in the other suit or 2 suits to perhaps make a no trump call. So be a little bit flexible when it comes to advancing and the choice that you make as an advancer, whether it be a no trump bid and whether it be a change of suit. Let's rub that out. And we will talk soon, everyone, about what happens as the advancer if you've got such a powerful hand that you can't afford partner to pass with 9 or 10 points. If you do have that type of hand, the suggestion that I'm making is that you would actually jump in your suit as the advancer. So let's keep going, everyone here. Advancing without a trump fit, so that we covered that with the balanced hands. And like I suggested here, I'm happy for you to make that about 8 to 11. The 12 points may be a little bit too much for a 1 no trump response. I'm just giving you a bit of a guideline here. And the 2 no trump about 12 to 14. So, overcall is rebid by a change of suit after a change of suit by the advancer. So here's an example of one of those hands. You are the overcaller. The hand in question that we have here, ace, queen, jack to 5 spades. And the auction proceeds. 1 diamond from south, and you overcall 1 spade on the hand in question. North passes, and partner bids 2 hearts. They advance with 2 hearts. Now, partner's fully prepared with that 2 heart bid that you may pass this call if you don't hold opening values for your 1 spade bid. South says pass, and you don't hold opening values. You've only got a doubleton heart. Could be worse, but you pass with that hand. Clear? Let's move on. Let's go down here, everyone, have a look at what our options would be if you actually held an opening hand when you overcalled. So again here, the hand in question, so we're discussing example 2 with ace, queen, jack to 5 spades, etc. Similar hand, except now we've got a few extra high card points. Again, South opens the bidding with 1 diamond. Example 2, you choose to overcall 1 spade. North says no bid, and partner bids. Let's see what they bid. I'm hiding it from myself here. Partner advances with 2 diamonds. No, I think that's a bit of a mistake because that would be a Q raise. So everyone, that 2 diamond bid shouldn't be there. That should be a 2 club bid. Taking my notes, pardon me. So partner advances with 2 clubs. South says no bid. And with the hand in question that you have here, you've got opening values. So if you had opened 1 spade on example number 2 here, and partner had responded 2 clubs, your rebid would be 2 no trump. So that's what we'll do. We'll bid 2 no trump. And to answer the question from before, does this necessarily promise a stopper in the open suit in diamonds? The answer is no. It's simply a shape showing call. So if partner wants to go on to game, they would either need a stopper themselves to bid no trumps, or they would need to ask you if you have a stopper. Let's go to example number 3. In example 3 here, a good hand, perhaps extra high card points. You've got a 6 card suit here. Partner, again, the opponents, that's another error there, everyone. That should be partners advanced with 2 clubs, not 2 diamonds. Christine's asking a question. Couldn't you bid 2 spades on the last one? You wouldn't bid 2 spades because that would promise an extra spade, Christine. So it'd be similar to you opening 1 spade. If you open 1 spade and partner bids 2 clubs, then your rebid of 2 spades would promise a 6 card suit, almost certainly. So no, you'll need to have a 6 card to do that. Tony said, so on the last hand, North 2 diamonds asking for a stopper. Not quite sure about that question, Tony. What would 2 diamonds be in that? We'll discuss that in a minute because we're actually going to speak about Q raises, everyone. Let's again look at example number 3. South opens the bidding with 1 diamond. You overcall 1 spade on this hand in question here. North says no bid. East bids 2 clubs, a change of suit. And the change of suit is forcing by advancer in the instance that the overcaller actually holds opening values. So do you hold opening values? The answer is yes. What can you do to describe your hand more? You bid simply 2 spades. And partner knows you've got an opening hand here with a 6 card spade, so 6 spades and probably 11 plus high card points. What would be the upper limit? 11 up to about 15, because with 16 or more here, everyone, yeah, you may have either started by doubling, or in this instance, you may actually jump to 3 spades with 16 plus points. I hope this is starting to make sense, because this is an area of the game where a lot of players actually don't do any work or don't do any research with their partner. And whilst we are encouraging people to overcall, it's actually catching on. People are overcalling on less than 10 points these days. But what's happening is that their partnership is not discussing the further options or the continuing options in the bidding. And so you need to have some sort of guidelines with partner as to, Is your change of suit forcing, partner? What would I expect from you if you responded one no trump as the advancer? What would I expect from you if you responded two no trump, etc., etc.? Okay. Now, that was all about what happens when we don't have a trump fit. It's a similar scenario when we do have a trump fit with our partner. And that is, if partner overcalls at the 1 level, and you've got, let's say, 10 or 11 points, if they had opened the bidding and you had 10 or 11 points with a trump fit for them, you would invite game because you're safe in the fact that they have an opening hand. But why would we do that? Or there's no reason to do that if partner has overcalled, because that overcall may be light. It may be down to 7 points. So how do we stop our partnership from getting too high? How do we avoid the 3 level on a lot of hands with a trump fit when it's the advancer that holds the trump support and 10 or more points? And this is what you do. You utilize what we call a Q bid. And a Q bid is when you bid the opponent's suit. So as simple as that. The definition of a Q bid means to bid the opponent's suit. Now, it's not likely that you would use that as a natural call. So therefore, we utilize it as what we call a Q raise. I'll give you an example of what a Q raise is. Again, we'll just suggest 1 diamond from south, 1 spade from west, no bid from north, and the Q bid would be diamonds. So if you bid the opponent's suit at the 2 level, it says, partner, I have spades for you. Yeah, I have 3 cards in your suit. That is the spade suit. 3 card support. The other thing that I'll have for you is I'll have 10 or more high card points. And I'm saving our partnership in case you don't have a good hand for your overcall. I'm saving our partnership from going to the 3 level by simply Q bidding the opponent's suit. Now, some of you may think, well, do I really need to play that? The answer is you really should. Q raises are a very valuable asset. And in this instance, what happens is if you do make one of these Q raises and partner has no interest in game whatsoever, should a Q be alerted? Good question, Josie. The answer is no. Q bids are deemed to be self-alerting. What does self-alerting mean? Self-alerting means that the moment that you bid the opponent's suit, the opponent should already be alert to the fact that you're doing something unusual. Yep. So Q bids are not alertable. They are deemed to be self-alerting. So back to the hand in question, or the option, 1 diamond from south, 1 spade overcall, 1 diamond, 1 spade, no bid, 2 diamonds, Q raise. I've got a fit for you, partner, 10 or more points. Normally I might invite you by bidding 3 spades here, and it sends a question to partner, are you genuinely interested in game? So if partner bid 2 spades here, they would be saying, sorry, just kidding with my 1 spade overcall. I was simply getting in there to lead direct you or to make it a bit more difficult for the opponents. Now, how many points would partner bid 2 spades with up to? Probably around about 11 points, maybe 12. They might do something different if they've got a little bit more than that. They'll start to invite game. They might bid 3 spades themselves. They might even just simply bid 4 spades. So this is a way of actually allowing your partnership to get out under the 3 level. And it's a very useful thing to play. Another suggestion here, everyone, is that you could make, in this day and age of Bergen raises, when we find out about 9 card trumpets, etc., you could also utilize the raise here, that is the Q raise at the 3 level, the jump raise. Let's just rub this bit out here. So that would be a jump Q bid, and that jump Q bid would also show 10 points, but it will promise 4 or more spades. Yep, quite a useful tool. Now, that you don't necessarily have to play, but my suggestion is the Q raise at the 2 level is a very valuable bid. Now that means, what if I don't actually Q raise? That means that each one of my bids here, a simple raise of partners' bids, all of them show less than probably 10 points. In fact, not probably, they will all show less than 10 points. What would be the difference between 2 spades, 3 spades, and 4 spades? Simply the number of trumps you hold. So 2 spades, all of these bids would be about 6 to 9 points, or 5 to 9. 2 spades would show a 3-card spade support. 3 spades, so 6 to 9, all of them. 3 spades would show 4-card spade support, and 4 spades would probably show 5-card spade support. 5 spades, 4 spades, and 3 spades here, everyone. So each of them 6 to 9. 2 spades is 3-card support, 3 spades 4-card support, and 4 spades 5-card support. That's the law of total tricks. A few questions here. Anita asks, Matt, is Q raises for majors only or for all suits? Actually, for all suits. There's some wonderful options that occur when partner may overcall in a minor suit, and a Q raise is still a valuable tool. And we've had, in fact, I give a hand, not today, but I do in other lessons, where the overcall occurs in the minor. Partner Q raises to say, I've got a fit for you in that minor. And then the opener says, well, I've also got a major suit, a 4-card suit in the major. So they bid that, and then they end up finding a trump fit in the major. So the answer to your question, Anita, is yes. Q raises do apply even with minor suit overcalls. Diane Armstrong has asked, what if North doesn't pass? Good question, Diane. Q raises still apply. A long time ago, I learned a lesson that sometimes my opponents don't have the hands that they promise when they bid. Often a responder can be very sneaky and bid on hands that don't have many values. So I would think that continue to play Q raises even if the third player bids. So what Diane's suggesting is that, what if North here didn't say no bid? What if they made a call? Would Q raises still apply? The answer is clearly, it is, yes. Diane's also asked, does the Q need short diamonds? No, you don't need to be short in partner's suit. In fact, let's just have a quick look at what a typical Q raise might show. Here we go. So the bidding has gone 1 diamond, 1 spade, no bid, and East here decides to bid 2 diamonds, this Q raise. Let's look at a possible hand here for East. A possible hand might be something along the lines of King, Jack, another, 2 small, Ace to 4, and maybe King to 4. I think that would be a typical Q raise. It's got 11 points. If your partner had opened 1 spade, you'd certainly be inviting to game. So you'd probably get to the 3 level opposite an opening bid. But opposite an overcall, we don't want to overbid. So we make a Q raise on this hand, and if partner bids 2 spades, we simply say no bid. Another question here from Mingy. If the opponents bid different suits, does the Q of the... It actually does. That's a really great question, everyone. Mingy's asked a question. If the opponents bid 2 different suits, does the choice of the Q bid make a difference? You can play that. You can play the lower Q as being the Q raise showing a trump fit, and you could play the higher Q as perhaps showing the same type of Q raise, but maybe showing 4-card support. I would always tend to use the Q suit as the lower of the opponent's 2 suits. I hope that answers the question. James also asked, if responder bids, which suit does advancer use to Q raise? Again, I hope I just answered that. We would use the lower suit. So I'll show you that in an example here. Let's say the overcalling suit was hearts, North bid a spade, and now you have 2 choices. As the advancer, you could bid either 2 diamonds or 2 spades. Well, the answer is if you bid 2 diamonds here, that means you're low enough for partner to get out to 2 spades. That's why I would tend to choose the lower suit as the cubid suit. Tina's also asked a question too. You have 8 losers, does that not matter? No, it doesn't matter actually. I think that the overcall is so wide-ranging that you should still invite on hands with 8 losers, because 8 losers is typical of an invitation to game opposite and opening hand. That's also asked, how do you differentiate between asking for a stopper in the opponent's suit and a Q raise? What you would tend to do, there's very few hands where the advancer would need to ask for a stopper immediately. That means the advancer would have some sort of hand with 15, 16 plus points and no stopper in the opponent's suit and no trump fit and no suit of their own good enough to bid. I think the answer is that it's far more useful to always play a Q bid as a Q raise. Yeah, forget about stoppers, because you'll always have an alternate choice when it comes to asking for stoppers. And stoppers only tend to happen with game-going hands. I hope that answers that question. Okay, so let's just move on here. And I think I've got some hands ready for you all. I know there's going to be a lot of questions at the end of this lesson, which is great. Let's have a quick look at doubles. What happens when the overcaller doesn't actually overcall, but doubles? If they double, then we're used to the fact that if the third hand passes, the advancer would make a non-jump bid in their best suit. With 9 to 11, they would make a jump bid. So just quickly, for those who are wondering what I mean here. So if a bid had gone 1 diamond, double, no bid, a 1 heart bid here would be up to about 0 to 8. Yep. A 2 heart bid here would be around about 9 to 11. And then with 12 or more points, you'd make another choice, whether you bid no trumps yourself to game, or you're able to jump with a 5-card suit to game. Or there's another bid that's very useful, and that is the Q bid of the opponent's suit opposite a double. And that Q bid of the opponent's suit opposite a double is what we call an unassuming Q bid, and it says to partner, I'm really keen on game here, but I probably don't have a 5-card suit. So let's start bidding our suits up the line until we can hopefully find a trump fit. So this bid here would be an unassuming Q bid. Now you notice that this isn't opposite a overcall, although oddly enough, it promises pretty much the same hand, about 10 plus points. Yep. So if where the partner had doubled or where the partner had overcalled in the suit, the Q bid of the opponent's suit says partner, invitational hand, yep, or better, yep, similar to a Q raise. Okay, so let's just rub that out. Advancer jump bid, we've got there, advancer's double. Yeah, what is a double by advancer? This is a very interesting area. So if the bidding had gone 1 diamond or 1 heart, perhaps 2 diamonds here, and advancer doubles, that's simply a takeout double. And it says to partner, I want to compete on this hand. Almost certainly the doubler will have 4 cards in spades. Quite often they have a doubleton in the overcaller's suit, but more often than not, it shows the unbid suits typical of any takeout double. Okay, so everyone, let's have a look at some of the hands that I've set up for today. I'm just going to switch the screens for us. Stop that share, and let's share now our screen, a new share. We're sharing the computer here. Now we've got our hands ready. Can we all see those? Good. Okay. So, okay, everyone. Now, on this particular hand, Easter started by opening the bidding with 1 diamond. And let me know if you can't see this hand, everyone. I'm pretty sure that we all can. and south overcalls one spade. This south hand is a hand where you would have happily opened one spade, but you've overcalled a spade on this hand at this stage, and you're saying to partner, I'm somewhere between 7 and 17 points. Partner now responds or changes suit by bidding 2 hearts. Now, what I've written in the explanation there is that 2 heart bid is forcing opposite an opening hand from the overcaller. Well, does the overcaller have an opening hand? The answer to that is yes. So the overcaller bids 2 no trump here. That's 12 to 14 balanced. And North could have asked for a stopper, but North simply just bid 3 no trump on this particular hand. Okay, now let's have a look at the play of a hand like this. West has led the 10 of diamonds. Our tricks are, we've got 1 stopper in diamonds. Our tricks are most certainly going to come from the spade suit. And let's have a look at the number of high card points around the table. Dummy's got 13. Declarer's got 12, that's 25. And East here has opened the bidding. So there's a good chance that East has most of the outstanding high card points. Well, how about we put that to a test eventually when we gain the lead by taking some finesses through the East hand. Let's see what happens at trick 1. East wins the King of diamonds. And then at trick 2, they play the Queen of hearts. Well, we're going to win that in dummy. And I think the suit that we're going to play is most certainly going to be spades. So let's win that trick in dummy. And then lead a spade. East plays low. Now you notice the spade suit here, everyone? You've got ace, queen, 10, 9. You're missing the king and the jack. Now, you can take a finesse here, but you could also take what we call a deep finesse. And that is you could play the East player for both the king and the jack of spades. And that's not far-fetched because East, however, after all, has opened the bidding. So I think it's just as good a plan to play one of the 9 or the 10 of spades to finesse and see where that leads us. So we do that. We play the 9. It wins the trick. Well, this is good news. That means that there's a good chance we might even be able to take all 5 of our spade tricks. So let's go across to dummy and continue the spade play. Another spade. East plays the jack. This looks brilliant. Queen, 7. What's happening now, everyone? Almost certainly what's happening is that the king of spades is going to drop under the ace. That's exactly what happens. We discard one of those hearts. Next, we play the queen of diamonds here, everyone. Not a heart because we want to make sure we set up our diamond trick. So we set up our diamond trick. East continues with the jack of hearts. That looks like the end of the hand because we've got all the rest. We've got the winning spades, the winning diamond, and we've got the ace and the king of clubs left. So that's got to be a good result, 11 tricks on that board. And you see what happened here, everyone, is that because East opened the bidding, I was able to place most of the high card points in the East hand. Does that mean that I took a risk by playing a spade to the 9 or the 10? Not particularly, because even if it lost, I was going to lose the spade trick anyhow. So why not at least make the most of the possibilities on the hand? And the possibilities on the hand were that perhaps East held both the king and the jack of spades. Move on to the next hand. Okay, so everyone, here's one of these Q raise hands in action. East opens the bidding again with a diamond, and I encourage you, vulnerable or not vulnerable, it doesn't matter, to overcall one heart with this hand. This is an example of what I would call a lead directional one heart overcall. If the opponents get to a contract, you would very much like partner to be able to lead hearts, because rather than them lead spades or lead clubs on this particular hand, because you've got good hearts. And again, it helps to lead from the weakness towards the strength. So I'm going to overcall one heart on this hand and hope partner doesn't get too carried away. Well, partner actually responded 2 diamonds, and that's a Q bid. It's a bid of the opponent's suit. And that says to partner, I'm over here. I've got a trump fit for you, but I don't want to gild the lily and bid 3 hearts on this hand in case we get too high, because you may not have a particularly good hand for your 1 heart overcall. Well, when the bidding comes back to you as south, you say, sorry, partner, I do have one of those poor hands. I'm very happy just to simply, and I know you've got a trump fit for me. I'm very happy to simply go back to the 2 level in my suit, and I have no interest in game. And unless you've got something like 14 or 15 points, I suggest that you pass as well. So partner does exactly that. They pass us out in 2 hearts. Now, the opponents lead the 2 of diamonds. What can we read about the 2 of diamonds, everyone? What we can read is that West has almost certainly got 3 cards in diamonds, I reckon, on this hand. They didn't lead high, and high-low was what they would choose from a doubleton. So I think there's every chance that the opponents won't deliver a diamond ruff. If that was a singleton, that would mean East would have ace-king to 6. I think there's a good chance they might double 2 diamonds with ace-king to 6. So I'm pretty confident on this hand that we're not going to suffer from a diamond ruff. Let's see what happens. Well, East has the same idea. East knows that West can't get a diamond ruff, so they're switching to their clubs to set up a trick. What's the Jack of clubs show here, everyone? King, 3, Jack. Now, it can't be a singleton. That would place East with a lot of clubs, like 7. What happens is when partner leads top of a sequence, if you're playing opposite them and you yourself also hold a sequence in that suit, you should play your top card in that sequence to say to partner, I've got the next card below this. So the king showed the queen and the jack showed the 10, because perhaps East-West might be able to take 3 club tricks. But it also sends a message to partner, you're going the right way about this hand. Dummy wins with the ace. Now, everyone, this looks like a straightforward hand. We simply have to draw trumps. Is it possible that the trumps might break 4-1 in such a way that we may not lose a trump trick? Well, if there are 4 hearts to the jack over here in the west hand, I don't think that is a good idea to take the ace of hearts and then finesse on the second round, because you'd simply be guessing. So, but you can perhaps guard against East holding 4 cards in hearts. Zaid's asked a question. Can you remove the bidding explanation? Can't see this. Ah, yes, sorry. Let's remove that bidding explanation. Good thought. Thank you for that. So now we can see the spades and dummy, ace 8, 6, 5. I think I'm going to guard against the possibility of East holding 4 hearts to the jack. So I'm going to play a low heart to my ace, and then a low heart back towards the queen. And if West shows out, I can now take a marked finesse. Well, they didn't. So we simply drew trumps. And then we gave the opponents the ace of diamonds. They took the queen of clubs as well. They tried to take another club, but we trumped that. Now, everyone, we were left with a diamond trick. And you can see almost certainly here, we're going to lose 2 spade tricks. They won the king. They played another spade. We win the ace. And we claim 8 tricks. What's the best thing about this hand, everyone? The best thing about this hand is without Q raises, that north hand may have actually jumped to 3 hearts. And if they had jumped to 3 hearts, our partnership would have been too high on this hand, and we would have succumbed and gone 1 down in our contract. So Q raises really were very helpful on this particular hand. Let's try another hand. Okay, here we go. So this is one of those hands where the Q bid is again a useful tool, but not opposite an overcall, but opposite a double. On this particular hand, East opens a diamond again, South doubles. I'm not going to show you the South hand. West, as yet, West passes, and this hand comes back to North. Well, North is confident that game's on. Yep. But if they just simply jump to game, that is, they either jump to 4 hearts or 4 spades, then how are they going to know that they've struck partner's 4-card major? And remember, this double here doesn't promise both 4-card majors. It may have 4-3 in the majors. That would be very acceptable for a takeout double. So the one thing the North hand doesn't want to do is it doesn't want to run a risk that they may bid the wrong major to game. So what did they do? They set up a strong hand invitational or better option by Q bidding the opponent's suit. So let's look at the explanation. Invitational plus Q bid, and it's an artificial call, of course, and it says, partner, I'm at least interested in game. Well, the bidding continues pass, and partner, simply what partner does is they bid their lowest 4-card suit. So what's South's lowest 4-card suit here, everyone, over diamonds? It's not hearts, it's spades. So that's what partner does. They bid their lowest 4-card suit of 2 spades, and North then raises to 4 spades. Christine's got a question. Do Q raises only come from advancer? Good question. Almost certainly yes, actually. It's very much a domain of the advancer. And that's why in this lesson about advancing, Q bidding is one of the most important aspects. Good question though. Yes, it pretty much is the domain of the advancer. So now everyone, we're in 4 spades. And we're going to look at the play. And West leads the 10 of diamonds. Okay, let's see what happens here. Low, 6, ace. Now, let's count, or let's have a look at the declarer's hand and count our losers. So in clubs here, we've got the ace and the king, but we've got 2 losing clubs here in the South hand. It's possible we can actually trump those in the North hand, as long as we don't lose the lead here. One of the things I don't want to do is play 3 rounds of trumps or even duck a trump, because I think every trump is vital. James asked a question, what about responder when the opponents interfere and you have an invitational hand? You could as responder as well, Jane. You could play, responder can play Q raises as well, but the Q bid as an, for advancer and the overcaller would only come from the overcaller. For the opener and responder, yes, you can play Q raises as either opener or responder, pretty much only as responder. But certainly for the partnership that is overcalling and advancing, only the advancer would tend to make Q raises. In fact, quite often only the overcaller wouldn't make Q raises, and only the responder in an opening responsive partnership, only the responder would tend to make Q raises as well. Pam's asked a question, if South had a 5-card club suit, do you bid spades or clubs? Yes, good question. I would tend to bid the major, Pam. I would tend to bid the major because I reckon that's what partner's after first. So we've won the ace of diamonds. Now, I'm not going to duck any trumps. I'm going to play this straight up, and I'm going to cash the ace and the king of trumps, because I want to use every one of my 4 outstanding trumps. And now, everyone, I'm going to play a club to the ace and another club to the king, and I'm going to trump one of my losing clubs in dummy. Now, before I do anything else here, if the hearts are breaking 3-3, I could play 4 rounds of hearts and discard my diamond loser. So before I run the risk of West getting in or East getting in with their 3rd trump, I'm going to try the heart straight away. So next thing I'm going to do is play a heart to the ace. Well, 2 hearts have gone, there's 4 to go. A heart to the king, 2 more left, or queen, king of hearts. East showed out. No good. So now I'm going to play my 4th heart, trump in my hand, trump my last losing club in dummy, and now the opponents can take the last 2 tricks with a high diamond and the high trump. So that's still a good result. That's still 11 tricks. I hope those hands explained a bit more about the ideas behind advancing. So I'd love to just quickly go over the details with advancing and where it comes from, and then I'll open up the microphones and we will allow everyone to join in some conversation at the end of the lesson. So when the overcaller makes a bid at the 1 level, it's possible their hand could be as little as 7 points. That puts their partner, the advancer, in a difficult position. The difficult position is that how do they know whether you're 7 or 17 for your overcall? So rather than continuously overbidding hands as a partnership, there's several stages at which the advancer can take a call that allows or gives partners some leeway for their overcall. And one of those is if the advancer is to bid 1 no trump, or 2 no trump, or 3 no trump. No longer do those bids show 6 to 9, 10 to 12, or 13 or more as opposite an opening bid, but the 1 no trump response should be lifted or increased to about 8 to 11, or a very bad 12. A 2 no trump bid would be here around about 12 to 14. And if you've got 15 or more high card points opposite a 1 level overcall, you should pretty much insist on game. Which also leads me to the change of suit as well. If partner has overcalled at the 1 level again, a change of suit by the responder, or the advancer, pardon me, is non-forcing unless the overcaller actually holds an opening hand. So again, the bidding's gone a diamond, a spade overcall, no bid from the 3rd player, 2 hearts, change of suit by the advancer, no bid from the opener. If I was to bid again here, I would be promising partner an opening hand. So if I don't have an opening hand, I simply pass. Now that puts some pressure on the advancer because in 2 set ways. A, they need to make sure that they can stand partner passing, even with only a singleton in their suit. So don't do this on a poor suit. And B, if they've got a very good hand, let's say 16 or more points, you shouldn't simply change suit. What you should do is perhaps jump in your suit. So if you have 16 or more points and you insist on the overcaller bidding again, then you must jump as the advancer. 1 diamond from opener, 1 spade overcall, no bid. If you were to jump to 3 hearts, that would say to me, you must call again, partner. I don't care if you've only got 7 or 8 points, please bid again. So that's what happens when it comes to the hands where you don't have a trump fit with partner. When you do have a trump fit with partner, you utilize what we call Q raises. And a Q raise comes from the term of Q bid, which means to bid the opponent's suit. Whatever suit the opener has called, if you as the advancer hold a trump fit for the overcaller's suit, then you simply, with 10 high card points or more, you Q bid the opener's suit. 1 diamond, 1 heart, no bid, 2 diamonds from the advancer. And that says to partner, I've got 10 or more points over here. I'm giving you some leeway to get out. Alan's got a question. If the bidding is 1 heart, 1 spade overcall, and you don't have a spade fit, is Q raising 2 hearts unsafe? Yes, it is. Because the overcaller should always presume that you have a trump fit for them when you make one of these Q raises. Try not to have it an either or situation. It's much better. In the early days, they did use it as an either or, but a lot of people came unstuck. So it should always be a Q raise for the advancer. Another bid too, what is similar to this, is when the overcaller has doubled and the advancer has a hand that is at least invitational to game. What do they do if they have no outstanding 5-card major suit to bid, or they don't want to bid 3 no trump? They simply Q bid again the opponent's suit, the opener's suit, and that says to the overcaller, partner, I'm pretty keen on game. Let's just slowly start to bid our 4-card suits up the line. And when the overcaller is a doubler, then that means they're likely to hold 4-card suits rather than 5-card suits. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed that. What I'm going to do here is I'll stop the recording and I'll open up the microphones